Network Entertainment.
You can make sure that your home is free of alcohol so that the person who is an alcoholic doesn't feel tempted.
Right.
Those are just the things that you can do to help. But you cannot beg, plead, force. Now, if you love me, you're going to
It
stop.
won't work.
Or you can even say, you know what? If you take drugs again, you'll never see your child.
Oh.
Oo, may ganun pa. You weaponize the children. It's not gonna work. The person has to be the one who has to make the decision when
Right.
they're ready to seek help.
Hi, this is Mirza Season. Welcome to You Can Do This, a podcast that'll help you achieve your dreams and goals one episode at a time. What are you waiting for? Let's go!
So it's such a blessing now that I remember everything that I did the night before. I'm no longer fighting with family and friends. My daughter wants to sleep with me every night.
Right.
So my relationships have healed.
Right.
And now I have more friends than when I was using.
Right.
Yeah, because of the support groups that
Right.
I've joined.
Right. Does one need to wait for a bottom to stop? Like you have to wait hanggang you fall flat on your face in the cement, or like they say, diba, addiction or alcoholism only leads to jail or the cemetery
Institutions and death. Yeah, jails, institution, or death.
Right.
Yun, those are the three
Do you
places.
have to wait for that? Obviously not death, right?
For some people, it takes that.
Okay.
And sometimes it's not even enough. That's why I know a lot of friends, God rest their soul, they passed away. Some of them are in jail, for life. But you don't have to hit rock bottom. You don't have to wait. Actually, you shouldn't wait.
Yes.
You shouldn't wait. That's why it's very important for us to spread the word,
Right.
that alcohol, is very addicting, and it's legal. And you have to be, you have to be more knowledgeable about it, that more people die of alcoholism compared to drug addiction. Can you believe
really?
that?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
People don't know that.
Why is that so?
I guess because, marketing,
Oh,
diba?
okay.
It's the marketing. So
Right.
if people are more informed, then they can make better choices.
Right.
And they don't have to wait until, and maybe sometimes they already notice that they got sick na,
Yeah.
they have cirrhosis of the
Yes.
liver.
And still not enough.
Yeah. And then they're dieting, but they're drinking, and then they're wondering, how come I'm not losing weight? Pala, you're drinking 2 bottles of wine, all of
Right.
these things. It's everybody has their own journey and everybody has their own bottom.
Right. Okay, let's talk about those who love the alcoholics and the addicts.
Oh, okay.
Also called codependence. Is that
Yes,
correct?
yes.
So define codependency.
A codependent is someone who is addicted to relationships.
Oh.
Yes.
Whether or not
they're people who abuse
Abuse.
drugs.
Right.
It's someone who's dependent on somebody for their happiness.
Okay.
That they tend to, for example, if you're codependent on someone who has substance abuse disorder, you dedicated your whole entire life to save this person.
Yes.
Diba? That you neglect your own needs.
Right.
You're not sleeping, you're not eating, you've lost a lot of weight, your mental health is suffering.
Right.
So that's what a codependent is. You're
Right.
addicted to people.
Right.
And you don't feel happy unless you have someone,
Right.
whether it's a relationship or it could be with someone with, addiction or whatever.
Right.
So, yeah, but there are groups that you can join to, so you have better knowledge and people who you can surround yourself with also other codependents that are
Right.
going through the same things
Right.
as you are.
So for people who are in relationships, whether romantic or could be your parent,
Yeah, it
right?
could
Or
be
it
your
could be your
parent.
child,
Yeah,
right? For
yeah.
people who are codependents, what are they doing wrong? Like
And
in their belief that I can make him stop if only I would, or they blame themselves, right? Like,
yeah.
kasi he's mad kasi I did this and that, and so uminom, diba?
Yeah,
Mga
that's
ganyan.
true. It's enabling.
Right.
One of them is definitely enabling. Enabling means is that um, you are allowing that person to continue his behavior or her behavior without consequences. You give these false ultimatums.
Right.
When you give an ultimatum, you better make sure that you follow through. Because
Right.
when you give an ultimatum and then you don't follow through, they're going to think that what they're doing to you is okay.
Right.
And another thing that they can do, that's because most codependents can be nags.
Yes. Yes.
Right? Did you take your medication? Diba? Kunyari with parents, diba? That
Right.
matigas ang ulo. They don't want to take their heart medication, or
Right, right.
they're like, did you take your medication?
Pang ilang bote na yan? Sabi mo, dalawa lang.
Yeah, exactly. And they're so annoyed. The
Yes.
more you annoy them,
Right,
the
right.
more they're gonna do it.
Right.
So you really have to learn how to let go. They say let go and let God.
Yes,
It's
yes.
not your job to change them.
Right.
It's their job to find the help. But you can do a couple of things to support them. One is you can also, let's say you drink and you have, you take recreational drugs. You can stop so that you can be a good example
Right.
to that person. You can make sure that your home is free of alcohol so that the person who is an alcoholic doesn't feel tempted.
Right.
Those are just the things that you can do to help. But you cannot beg, plead, force. Now, if you love me, you're
Yeah,
going
yeah.
to
It
stop.
won't work.
Or you can even say, you know what? If you take drugs again, you'll never see your child.
Oh.
Oo, may ganun pa. You weaponize the children. It's not gonna work. The person has to be the one who has to make the decision when
Right.
they're ready to seek help.
Right. So if they're not ready, no amount
No amount.
of extra work
No.
will help.
No.
How hard is that to do? Because usually, diba, they tell the codependent, focus on yourself. And then it's like, me, I'm not the one with a problem.
Yeah. You know what? It's very difficult. That's why up to now, I still consider myself a codependent. It's not something that you can just snap out of it,
Right.
because I'm a very nurturing person.
Right.
And I'm pakilamera. I always know-it-all. I know better. So I have a tendency to nag,
Right.
especially my grandmother.
Right,
Na
right.
parang, it's very difficult, and you have to catch yourself.
Right.
But you can't be perfect. So you also have to allow yourself, you have to forgive yourself as well and catch yourself. When you make a
Right.
mistake, learn from it. And
Right.
maybe next time, you won't do it again.
Right. What about boundaries? Where do boundaries come in? Like, diba, when you say ultimatum, and then eventually the dependent will say, hindi naman ako iiwanan yan, dyan pa rin siya.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, boundaries. Yeah, like for example, when it's, like sometimes kasi it can't be avoided.
Right.
When someone's addicted to drugs and alcohol, sometimes they may steal from you.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes they can be violent. They can, they lie,
Yes.
and
they hide the alcohol.
yeah, they hide the alcohol. They stop paying for bills, and you have to draw the line somewhere. And for me, especially when it comes to domestic violence, that's when you're really like, that's it, get out.
Right.
Because especially when there are children involved, you have to leave. You have to
Right.
find a safe space for you and your child, right?
And even without domestic violence, is the best solution to leave.
You know what? Not all the time.
Oh, really?
I really thought that
Right.
Yeah, because being on this side, do I want my partner to leave me just
Right.
because I relapsed?
Yeah.
So there's a difference. I wanted to
Yeah.
talk about that. So there's active addiction, right? Where you keep on using. But if you see that the person is seeking treatment, seeing a counselor, attending meetings, then maybe it's not a good idea to leave.
My effort.
May effort eh. There's
Right.
that person is showing that they want to change.
Right.
There's still hope.
Right.
But when the person doesn't show that they're not capable of changing,
Right.
walang effort, then maybe you can consider, is this the relationship that I
Right.
really want? For myself?
Or will leaving possibly spark off the recovery? Or
No.
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 No,
Oh my
no.
gosh, I know that for a fact. I
Please expound.
so many times I kick my partners, get out of the house. 2 weeks, balik na.
Oh,
and then
tinanggap.
it's then you come back kasi drug test ka. That's the only time I'll allow you to come back. But then it's all for the wrong reasons.
Right.
They're not doing it for themselves. They're doing it for you because they got kicked out and they want you back.
Right.
So it never works. It will work temporarily,
Right.
but it's not a long-term.
Right.
It won't solve it long-term.
Right. So it's up to you, Ren, to weigh. Are you in this for decades to patiently wait, or do you want your life back?
Yeah, it really depends, but it's really about, I think, if you see that your partner or your family member
Right.
is showing, seeking for help.
Right.
So I suggest that you support them. I think
Right.
it's important to support the people that you love.
Right.
But like, for example, if you find out that your husband has cancer,
Right.
will you leave them?
Right.
Right? So you have to think of these you have to think of alcoholism and substance abuse disorder as a disease.
Right.
So you're not gonna leave your family members or your husband if they have a disease like
Right.
diabetes or
Right.
something. But if they want to seek treatment, of course you're there. You go to the
Yeah.
hospital with them.
Right.
But if they don't want to do anything about it, then
Yeah.
you should think about if this is a life that you want. Do you want to
Right.
be his nurse
Yeah.
for the rest of your
That's
life?
true.
Diba? So yeah, that's the
Okay.
difference for me.
Okay. So what are your recommended immediate steps for somebody who wants to overcome alcoholism?
Okay, so for me, the immediate steps is really learning to accept that you have a problem. That's the first step, definitely. Number 2, you ask help from a recovery coach or a specialist. You can also join a 12-step program. Another one is, this may be hard. You have to stop hanging out with people who are using, who
Right.
could be a bad influence. It doesn't have to be forever, but only until you're strong enough. Number 4, avoid bars.
Okay.
Diba? Avoid
That's
bars
hard.
just until.
Right.
Or have a sober body. Yun nga,
Yes,
if you're gonna go
okay.
to bars. 5th is do activities that increase your dopamine levels
Oh,
naturally.
wow. Such as?
So exercise, hobbies, learning a new skill, also eating the right foods,
Right.
taking the right supplements. Studies shown that omega-3 fatty acids actually
Oh.
helps increase dopamine levels. Also, taking the 9 essential amino acids, protein, is very effective.
Right.
So, yeah.
Pulutan na lang, wag na yung beer. In your case, yoga really helped you, right?
Yes, yoga really helped. I did spinning for a while, pero napagod ako. I'm 47 and hindi na carry. But no naman. I think I just got, after a while, I got a little bored with it. Maybe I'll get back to it.
Right,
But
right.
what I do is bar 3. So it's
Okay.
yoga, Pilates, and ballet.
Right. And how
Yeah.
did that help in
Well,
overcoming?
It gives you endorphins,
Right.
right? And of course, you can't do it when you're hungover.
Okay.
Kasi
Okay.
exercise and
Right.
substance abuse, they don't
Right.
go together.
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Any other steps after the
Um,
dopamine increasing?
if you are a spiritual person, I definitely recommend meditation and praying.
Right.
Praying every day. And definitely don't look too far ahead. You know,
Oh.
that's very important because when you say that I'm never gonna drink again, or you're gonna get overwhelmed and you
Right.
might quit. You
Right.
know, but if you take things one day at a time, then you have a better success rate.
Right.
You know, so that's one advice I can give to people. Stay in the present. You know, this is what God's will or your higher power's will or the universe, you can call it the universe,
Right.
whatever you want. This is what's meant for you today.
Right.
So just go through today.
Right.
And tomorrow is another day.
Right.
You know, you can't bring back the past. You only have today. Like in
Wow.
Rent, no day but today.
How are you managing, let's say, the holiday season where, you know, you go to reunions, events, there's alcohol everywhere?
Well, actually, I just came from a Christmas party.
Oh, okay. What was that like?
And that was it, but it was a sober Christmas party.
Okay,
Yeah, with my
okay.
recovering buddies. And we had so much fun. We had raffles, we were dancing, and you know, we just had Coke Zero. I wanted to bring my mocktails, but ang dami nila. So I couldn't do it. But we had so much fun. And I was able to wake up early and refreshed. I worked out. I came back home early. I was able to tuck in my daughter. So you don't need alcohol to have fun.
Right.
You know, it's just it's the marketing. It's our culture that tells you. Like for example, if you're an artist, if you don't smoke weed, maybe you won't be able to paint. Diba? Maybe you won't be as creative. That's not true. Or for example, that movie, The Queen's Gambit.
Yeah.
Diba? Si Beth Harmon.
Right.
So she, because of childhood trauma, she took those green pills.
Yeah.
And she thought that the reason why she was good at chess
Was because of
it, because she was hallucinating and she could see the game up in the ceiling. But at the end of the movie, it showed that she never needed it in the first place. So it's the same thing with parties. And maybe you should also find out if your friends are fun to begin with.
Fun lang paglasing.
Oo. Maybe you need to drink because they're not that fun pala. You know? You have nothing in common. So you're there drinking. What am I going to say? You're drinking because it's a social lubricant.
Boring pala kayong lahat.
Boring pala kayo, you know.
Right. We'll talk about your mocktails later. But my
Yes.
question now is for the codependents, the loved ones of the alcoholics or the addicts. What are the 5 most immediate things they can do to help?
Well, you know what? I can only speak for myself. I did see a counselor. That was very important because one thing I didn't realize is that codependence, you're also just as sick as the addict.
Wow. Say that again.
Yeah. You might even be more sick.
Oh, wow.
Than the addict.
In what way?
Because like for example, the addict already told you they're the ones leaving you na because you're a nag. But you're running after them.
Okay, oo nga.
Because you're so dependent on their love. You're so dependent that you can't live without them. So you have to see a counselor to find out, where is this coming from? You know, is this something that maybe something happened during my childhood?
Right.
You know, where is this lack of this void coming from? So I did see a counselor. 2, I joined a Zoom. I do join Zoom meetings with other codependents. Okay. 3rd is self-care.
Right.
You know, remember that you're a separate entity from this person, from your loved ones, or from the person who is addicted. You're separate from this person. You know, you can still have fun without them. You can still have your own life.
Right.
You know, and I guess the 5th one is really, you have to love yourself.
Right.
You really have to love yourself. And
Right.
and that's really hard, especially if you come from a chaotic environment, if you were abused as a child. Um, so that's why you really need treatment. You need
Right.
you need help. It's not just the person who's addicted to drugs. Codependents need just as much help as
Wow.
they do.
Wow. That's why they say when a codependent is about to die, what flashes before them is not their life, but their dependent's life.
I could have traveled. But instead, you spent all your time being a
Right.
nurse.
Right.
I remember I wanted to set up this business. I had this dream of opening this smoothie bowl bar.
Okay.
But because I was taking care of someone who was addicted, I let that dream go
Oh wow.
because I thought he needs me. I have to
Right.
be there for him
Right.
24/7. So you don't forget your own dreams.
Right.
So that was a lesson learned for me.
Right.
But the most important thing is I was able to seek help.
Yes. And
Yeah.
when you seek help, you need to do the inner work
Yes.
to really, dig deep inside.
And it's painful. You have to be ready. And you have to make sure that because you get triggered. You get triggered when you talk about all of these past things that happened to you in the past. You may get triggered.
Right.
Because codependence also doesn't mean that you're not an alcoholic or that you're not a drug addict.
Oh.
Yeah, because you can be both.
In your case, you were both.
Yes, in my case, I was both. I was a codependent and an alcoholic because I couldn't face the pain of what my partner was doing to me. I became an alcoholic.
Wow. Wow. You've come a really long
Yeah.
way.
And it's never too late.
Right.
That's one lesson that I've learned. A lot of people, they think, oh, I'm set
Yeah.
in my ways.
Right.
I'm 70.
Right.
Actually, that's a common, when with my friends and I before in recovery, will be like, basta when we turn 70, let's drink again.
Oh my God.
Matanda na tayo.
Oo,
Nobody
pwede na.
cares. Pwede na. But why would you want to be remembered that way?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
At 70, you have grandchildren.
Right.
Don't you want to spend time with them?
Right. So in your case, it wasn't too late because you still succeeded as a chef, as an author.
Yes.
Tell us about that period in your life where I guess you overcame, in this article that I read about you, 19 years of trauma and
Yeah.
addiction. And then immediately after that, you put up your business and then you were at the top of your game. Tell us about that, just to prove to people that it's never too late.
Yeah,
get your
definitely.
life back.
Actually, yes. So we put up the Sexy Chef. We're 19 years old already. By next
Oh,
year, we're
congratulations.
20 years
Oh, wow.
old. But of course, having a food business, it's very stressful.
Right, right.
So, you have to deal with a lot of things,
Stress.
like employees, disgruntled employees. There's a lot of stress. Now that prices have gone up, inflation, there's a lot of
Right,
stress. So
right,
there's a lot of, you'd rather just drink and forget about
So
everything.
nakaka-trigger din.
Yeah, nakaka-trigger rin. But, because nga I seeked help, I was able to deal.
Right.
They call it facing life on life's terms.
Oh.
Yes.
Facing life
On
life's
life's
as opposed to
terms.
what?
To not facing it by drinking.
okay.
By, it's so easy to be like, just drink.
Right.
But what people think is that the problem will go away.
Right.
Itutulog mo na lang, you wake up and the problem is gone. When in fact, the problem is worse. And you have the hangover.
Right.
And you nothing actually got fixed.
Right.
And
so now you have your mocktails. Tell us about that.
Yes. So I have an IG page. It's
Yes.
called the Sober_Chef, where I post recipes of mocktails. So it's margaritas, sangrias, what else? Beers with mango, ginger
Right.
beer with mango. Because I'm a chef, I said,
Right.
why do I have to keep drinking Diet Coke?
Perfect.
Diba? So I wanted to come up with creative drinks that people can make at home.
Right.
You know, it's not just for people who are alcoholics.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just for everyone. You know,
Right.
if you want to have like a baby shower, but you
Right,
really
right.
want to be drunk in a baby shower.
Right.
So these are the drinks that you can serve like during wholesome
Right.
events.
And I love it because it just shows all the possibilities, right? Diba? You don't have to be the boring one with like drinking
Yeah.
water. You can actually be
Yeah.
creative about it.
You can be creative about it. And of course, you know, I'm very happy because I joined a group of other addiction recovery specialists,
Okay.
and we formed a group, and it's called Second Chances. So it's an outpatient facility, and it's located in BGC.
Right.
And if you want to contact us, you can email me at barneyalejandro8
Right.
at gmail.com,
Right.
or you can DM me at the sober_chef and on IG. Yeah.
Right. So for anyone who wants to overcome alcoholism and addiction, or a codependent who wants to get help, can you tell us where they can go, who they can contact, what?
Well, definitely yes.
Resources there are.
You can Google. Where the 12-step programs are. Some are anonymous.
What do you Google? Like
Just you can put how
12
to get help for
Okay.
12-step meetings in
Manila,
the Philippines.
Philippines.
Manila,
Okay.
Philippines. It's anonymous. So, you know, just stick to ano lang. It'll come out naman. There's a
Right, right.
website where
Right,
it can
right.
tell you the schedules of the
Right, right.
meetings. There are Zoom meetings. There are face-to-face meetings. But I encourage face-to-face.
Right,
You
right.
can do both. I do Zoom and face-to-face. But I find the face-to-face to be more helpful because that's where you make friends.
Right.
You need to have a support group.
Right.
There's nothing like a hug, you know, or someone to hold your hand and say,
Right.
everything is going
And how
to be
anonymous
okay.
is it? I can already foresee like people are like, baka may makita pa ako dyan kakilala ko.
Ay naku, maraming chismosa, you know. But as much as possible, we just call each other by our first names.
Right, right.
You know, pero alam naman nila who I am, 'di ba?
Right,
But of
right.
course, whatever is shared during those meetings, you cannot share with other people.
Yes.
And of course, if you're not, because the 12-step meetings is a very spiritual
Right.
group, no? But if you're not spiritual, then there are other ways to go
Right.
about it. There are facilities, outpatient. If you
Right.
have work during the day and you can't go to an inpatient facility, there are outpatient facilities like Second Chances.
Right.
And of course, you can always talk to a sponsor. You know, you
Right.
can find a sponsor. It's also on the website. They
Okay.
leave their names.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
They leave their names. And I'm so proud of these people because they
Galing.
get calls
Wow.
24/7. Like,
Wow.
hello, I'm drunk. What
Oh,
am I going to
wow.
do? How I'm going to get help? You know, like
Right.
that. And I'm so proud of, these are my friends actually. And I'm
Right,
so
wow.
proud of them that they have really devoted their life into helping other people.
Right. So, Barney, if there's one mindset or mantra or takeaway that anyone listening can get from our conversation today, what would it be?
Okay, for me, for those who are not spiritual, it can be the universe. It can be just a higher power. It could be the sunrise. You know, it's really up to you. But for me, I say this prayer all the time. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Wow.
Because not everything, you cannot control everything in your life.
Right.
You know, it's you have to let go.
Wow.
You know, and that helps with your sobriety.
Right.
Because when you feel like you can, you know, you're always agitated, you're always forcing things to happen when it's not meant to happen yet,
Right.
that's when you get giyang eh.
Right.
Right? But when you finally let go and say that, you know, there are some things that are just not in my control, you know, and there are some that are in my control. So what's in my control? I can choose not to drink today. I can choose to be kind to people today. I can choose to exercise, So those are the things. So that's my mantra.
Right. And one day at a time.
One day at a time.
Thank you so much, Barni. What a wonderful conversation.
Thank you, Mirza. It's such an honor to be here.
And thank you for your honesty and vulnerability and generosity to share your life with everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. This recording was done at the Go Time Bank studio for the Pod Network Entertainment. Thank you. See you again soon. Thank you for listening to You Can Do This. If you want to know more about me, visit mirza.com. That's MYRZA.com. And follow me at Mirza Season on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, and LinkedIn. If you like this episode, please don't forget to rate it 5 stars. Hit the follow button on your podcast streaming platforms and hit the notification bell to get alerted every time we release a new episode. Catch you at our next convo, and always remember, you can do this.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.